Ian Rigby asks, hey, on MythBusters, you built a lot of amazing machines, the chicken cannon, the sword-swinging robot, Jamie's little pop gun. Can I tell you about Jamie's little pop gun? That was the shoulder-mounted bazooka he made to fire soda cans at like up to 150 miles an hour. And this was for a story about people throwing a slushie out the window of their car and it hits another car driving past and the slushie goes right through the windshield. And so actually, this is some of the most frightening driving Jamie and I had ever done up till that point, because we're basically driving two cars towards each other at speed with just a very small separation between them, and a target has to be hit. It was very spooky. But during that one, so the myth came in, will a slushie destroy the windshield of your car? I can't remember what the exact parameter was of the story, but it was that. And Jamie was like, I'm not really interested in this story. And I said, there's a need to make a bazooka that shoots a soda can. And he immediately went, I'm very interested in this story. It was that. It was exactly, he was literally like, I hate this story. And I'm like, there's a soda can gun. He was like, I love this story. RoboCat is another amazing machine. Is there a particular one that I look back on fondly? Yes. And we'll wrap with this story. The steam machine gun. Supposedly, during the Civil War, somebody concocted a centrifugally driven, steam-powered machine gun that fired round balls. And it was maybe the weirdest thing that we ever built. So you need a power supply, that's steam. So that was one build. We were modifying a water heater to be our steam generator, but that was an involved build. So while we were also solving the problem of how the machine gun spun and fed and the parts of it worked together, we were using air pressure, shop air pressure, set high, like 125 PSI, to activate our machine. And it was like this whole thing where it was like a funnel, and I had a gearbox that I made with chains that would drop one ball at a certain periodicity, and they went in this thing and they spun around and would leave when the hole reached this point. We were spooked by this machine throughout the whole build because, and this is what we were firing, 1-inch chrome steel ball bearings. You can buy these by the thousands and they're not crazy expensive. I still have a few hundred left, and I think a 50-pound box of them upstairs. So we're gearing up to shoot this thing. And like I said, we're working on both parts of the build at the same time, the mechanics for firing the balls and the steam generator for providing the impetus for the spinning. And in the interim, we were using shop air pressure. So there comes this moment when it's time to, the steam generator is ready to hook it up to the machine. Now, I'm going to try and do an impression here. Up until now, we've been using house air pressure. And every time we spool up the machine, whoa, like that. Whoa, that's to a specific tone that we hear every time. Whoa, and it's going. The first time we go to hook up the steam, it is like open the valve and it goes, whoa, it is this octave that we had never heard before. So for reference, when steam is expanding from a pressurized container, it literally can expand up to 1,600 times its original volume. The amount of energy in there, here's the thing that's so funny about making the show is I was like, well, clearly that's why they made steam engines that way. That's a really amazing power transfer. Yeah, that's exactly why. The amount that steam expands when it is being released from a pressurized vessel is astounding. And literally the moment Jamie and I heard the sound of that thing spinning up from the steam, we both were like, oh. It wasn't quite like, I know how to fly a helicopter now, but it was like, oh, I understand so much more about steam. All that being said, firing that thing was an ever-loving, terrifying nightmare, and it involved all of the blast chamber panels that we had everywhere so that these things would only go where we wanted them to go and not anywhere else. The spinning thing was centrifugal. The amount of energy you can store centrifugally dwarfs most other methods of storing energy. And centrifugal devices have been in the past, in my experience, some of the scariest I have built and or been around. Danny Daniel, 138, asks a question. Hey, with all the rain going on in the West Coast, it makes me wonder, has weather ever affected your delivery date on a project? If so, can you share an experience? You know, a few years ago, somebody pitched me a prop maker show, like a prop making contest show. And, you know, similar maker show contest format to others, like Making It and other ones where, you know, everyone would get the same thing to build and they would be graded on their speed, on their accuracy, on their finish, etc. And I was sitting in this meeting. It's not necessarily when someone's pitching you an idea, it's not necessarily, well, anyway, I just decided, like, I realized, oh God, I have so many thoughts about this that could make it so much weirder. Because if you are a prop maker, it is the getting a drawing, assembling some materials, and making the thing that the drawing represents is absolutely the job. That's 90% of the job. But there are other aspects that are going to inhibit you, like weather. And so what I was saying to them was, if you're going to do a prop building show, you should include the same, like D&D, you should include the full roster of villains that you will encounter in a professional prop making studio, like an art director who can't make up his mind, who tells you one thing and then another, and then asks you if you're calling them a liar when you're like, well, that's not what you said before. Like, I've had some spectacularly idiotic art directors in the past. The humidity in the shop is 95%. I have definitely had difficulty at times getting paint jobs to dry based on the ambient humidity and or temperature. I have, in the winter time, had difficulties with casting materials who prefer a really specific bandwidth of temperature for casting. And to me, any prop making contest show would have to include things like that. Like, you've got to carry this thing through the rain somehow as the final boss to beat in this contest. Or we're going to turn the heat up to 100 degrees or down to 0. I don't think I have had, I mean, I've certainly had weather make days rough while filming, but that's different than having weather inhibit my ability to finish a job. I don't think I have had that specifically. I mean, again, I've certainly worked on commercials where it was like overly warm in the studio and a prop that was held together with hot glue started to fall apart. But we just used some CA glue and got that one back together. Trevor Higgins says, I too have a hardware store in another room of my shop. Do you find the materials are a long walk now or still convenient? Oh, so convenient. Specifically because, and this build hasn't gone up yet, in addition to putting all the Sortimos on the racks, I have given each one of them a slide-out shelf, which means, frankly, that I can go over and one-handed pull a Sortimo out, open it, get what I need inside of it, close it, and put it back. And I never had to go find a table space for that. And I was on the phone the whole time. So no, I do not mind walking in here from there, which is 20 feet, to go get what I need, because I'm just so happy. Actually, yesterday I had a couple of old ILM colleagues, and we just hung out all afternoon making stuff and talking about making stuff and talking about these racks, and it was fun. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to support us even further, you can by becoming a tested member. Details are, of course, below, but it includes all sorts of perks, and we're building them all the time. You get advanced word and behind-the-scenes photos of some of our projects. Questions, you get to ask direct questions during my live streams, and we have some members-only videos, including the Adam real-time series of unbroken, unedited shots of me working here in the shop. They are weirdly meditative. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you on the next one.